just tight racing. And these two are going at it.
Mike Massaro.
And as a result of that contact, Doc, a left rear tire went down on the 17 car. They'll make that change there. They'll also make a track bar and wedge adjustment along with 4 tires and fuel. Dave?
Not a good run that time for Kyle Busch. Tight to the center, little free off track bar adjustment, 4 tires. Alan?
Jeff Gordon says this car won't turn in a 40-acre field. Both wrenches spinning, track bar, wedge, 4 tires, air pressure, lots of changes. Jamie?
Jimmie Johnson said his car got real loose after that last 2 tire stop. They took 4 tires this time. Jimmie Johnson down and away, 14.3. Doc?
Jimmie Johnson, was that the money stop? It was, if you're counting where he is. There's Jimmie Johnson gains a spot as our leader. Kyle Busch up. Kenseth down 2. Remember they had the flat tire. Kurt Busch, Truex, you see the race off up pit road.
5 points that you guys got it.
Watch Chad Knaus's reaction here as they're exiting the pits. Yeah, we got there. Rick Hendrick behind him. And Jimmie Johnson wins the race off of pit road. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC station.
Sun has set at Texas Motor Speedway, and we are in for another dramatic finish. Denny Hamlin, twice in a row. Last week, was it the water in the fuel line? Remember, he stalled out in Atlanta. Now he crashed and almost took Matt Kenseth with him. But we are set now for one of the great finishes, and guess who's on top? Guess who can achieve a stranglehold? Jimmie Johnson, going for still another win, is in first, and Jeff Gordon, Doc, has to get the pedal to the metal to try to stick with him right here, because Jimmie right now is in danger of opening up an insurmountable lead.
Exactly, Brent. It was here a year ago that Jimmie Johnson took the points lead and never looked back. Johnson the leader. Jeff Gordon has come back on the pit road a moment ago to top off with fuel, as did the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. 58 laps to go. Now we're going to see what they got. It's time to turn up the wick, as they say in racing circles. Fresh tires. The 07, by the way, running with Jimmie Johnson, and they're rubbing down on the bottom of the racetrack.
Oh, man, he's trying to get one of those laps like Clint Boyer is. He knows he's got to get it done now. And he gets by, and you take a look at Kyle Busch on the outside. He wants to lead this race.
Jimmie Johnson can ill afford to rub with the 07 car, so Kyle Busch sails by and takes the lead, and he will keep the 07 car now 2 laps down.
The reason he's racing so hard for this spot is because he wants to get a lap back so he can be in position to get the lucky dog. Right now, he's 2 laps down.
And he's just got to stay driving hard right now, but Kyle Busch has got the clean air. And guys, that car's been like bullet fast all day long, so I don't expect Boyer to catch him.
The reason for the caution a moment ago was the contact between the 17 of Kenseth and the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Let's listen in to Matt Kenseth's radio.
Hey, do you want to give the 11 a message for me, or not really? I'm already headed that way. You think you want me to add to it? Yeah, I would actually. I always give him a lot of room, and half the time he does to me. I know we're racing for the lead, he wants all the points, but we're not going to get any points all wrecked. And I had a couple times I could have stayed in it and put him in a bad spot, and I didn't do it. I gave him plenty of room, and he needs to give a little bit of that back, or they're both going to be wrecked. There's just not really a reason to do that. Pretty stupid to do it that early in the race there. I was patient, took my time to him, getting to him, and trying to pass him, gave him all kinds of room.
Well, I can tell you one thing. He might tell Denny Hamlin that. It's not going to make Denny Hamlin feel any better right now. In fact, it's probably going to irritate him.
I could definitely see where Matt Kenseth's coming from, because he did race that 11 car very clean. He did have a couple of opportunities to squeeze the 11 car and didn't. He gave it to him, and so I think he was just expecting the 11 car to return the favor.
A lot of frustration right there between those two. That's obvious. Jamie?
Well, guys, I asked Chad Knaus, I heard you talking who can make it, who won't, you know, for the rest of the race on fuel. So I asked Chad Knaus, who's usually not very emotional, and he was emotional on that last stop. I looked up, I said, are you guys going to make it? And he had a big smile. He said, I don't know. I'm not sure. He said, ask me 30 laps and I'll let you know. So I think he's banking on hopefully one more caution before this thing's over.
48 car did not come back in. The 24 car did come in and top off. And there comes Jamie McMurray, by the way. Good run for McMurray, coming by and taking the position away from Jeff Gordon. Gordon trying to get back by, and that is for the 10th spot. More on Jeff Gordon. Let's check in with Alan Bester.
Yeah, and their fuel situation, Doc, even though they did stop and top off, Steve Letarte told Jeff Gordon they were close on fuel. They restarted 12th. They're running 11th right now, and Jimmy Johnson's running second, and fuel is close. Boy, think there's a few fingernails going to get sheared off down here.
I guarantee you there is, Alan. There's a lot of these guys that cannot make this run. I think the 24 car maybe has one of the best shots of doing that. But if he's, Steve Letart's going to have to tell Jeff Gordon to save a little bit of fuel.
Not like either one of these guys have had a lot of luck at this racetrack either. Laps are winding down. Can they hang on fuel? Kyle Busch is the leader. Back at Texas Motor Speedway, folks, stay tuned after NASCAR coverage for an all-new Sunday on ABC, starting with America's Funniest Home Videos, followed by Extreme Makeover Home Edition, then the wildest Halloween party you've ever seen on Desperate Housewives, followed by a new Brothers and Sisters. It all starts right after NASCAR coverage at normal times in the Mountain and Pacific time zones right here on ABC. That cranks up in about 45 laps, folks. 45 laps to go here at Texas Motor Speedway. Lights are on and laps are ticking down. How balanced does the car have to be to run this well here at a 1.5 mile racetrack? Well, let's show you what happens here in terms of balance, downforce, and clean air on the 5 car.
Guys, our draft trackers really showed a lot of aerodynamic changes this year to help educate the viewers, but this right here is showing us total downforce on the front and total downforce on the back. And when this car gets around different cars and you pull up behind, you'll see the green on the front go completely away. And if there's a car gets up behind this car, you'll see the green on the back go completely away. So later on, we'll try to find one of those instances and show you, but it really does affect the way the car's handled out here to track this fast. Andy, speeds of over 200 miles an hour going at the corner. Aerodynamics is huge, man.
Yeah, and you want that car to be balanced too, and that's what that's showing you right there. Was there was a equal distribution of downforce, and when these guys get together and get cars in front and behind, it changes that, and that's why this clean air is so important.
You got to have downforce, but you need to have something else today and tonight, and I think it's called fuel, right, Jamie?
That's right. Doc and Checkenhouse decided he didn't want to wait 30 laps to find out if they're going to be short or not, or what their situation is. So he just radioed in after he talked to his little math wizards down here in the pit box, and this is what he told his driver, Jimmy Johnson.
All right, but I need to start backing off just a little bit, saving me some fuel. I need to save me about 3 laps total.
And Checkenhouse waiting for a caution flag, desperately telling his driver, who just avoided somebody on the track, guys. I believe that's the 78, just avoided him. So keeping his eyes open and hopefully going to conserve enough fuel to make it to the end.
Jamie, still no caution flag. A caution would be a huge help to Jimmy Johnson. This is Joe Nemechek, by the way, who they announced this week has just signed a 3-year contract with this team, Furniture Row Racing. Hoping to go to a 2-car team in 2008. He scrapes the wall, but is able to make it down on the inside to pit road, and we will stay green here with 41 laps to go.
And you must wonder if there's debris off of turn 2 because of this scraped wall. I mean, when you hit them, I mean, usually something flies off the car. A lot of body filler, Bondo, things like that, Andy, that these teams use to paint these cars and under the paint job, and so that could have happened. So we have to take a look at this.
Watch what's happening.
Yeah, you see this right here. This graphic is showing how Jimmy's floating the car down in the corner. That's what I'd be telling my driver. Let's save a little fuel, back off a little bit early, don't hit the brakes quite as hard. Those brakes just use up fuel, and you know, that might get them those 3 laps they're looking for.
And you know, right before we were looking at another picture, I was looking at the tailpipes on the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson, and you saw the flames coming out of the car as he was getting out of the throttle. I'll try to show you that shortly here, but it really shows how early he's getting out of the throttle. He's coasting for a long time. Out of the throttle, out of the throttle. Then he picks the throttle up very, very easy. Nothing abruptly. And that really saves a lot of fuel. Now, he's got to save 3 laps, so he's got to keep doing this.
While you watch this,
see the flames coming out of the right rear there. And he's out, now back into it, Jerry.
Fuel is critical for Jimmy Johnson. And by the way, the 11 car, another one of the chase contenders, Denny Hamlin, has gone to the garage area. Just made the hard left-hand turn. He was a leader. And despite a lot of damage on the front of this 2 car, Kurt Busch is setting sail. He is coming in a hurry.
Well, they fixed it. You know, they got that hood beat back down and got this all sealed back up. And buddy, he's driving the wheels off this thing. He's coming up. He's running the fastest laps on the racetrack right now.
So Kyle Busch the leader, Jimmy Johnson in second, Kenseth. In this car you just saw Kurt Busch a moment ago. Truex, Newman, Jeff Burton, Kevin Harvick, Tony Stewart, and there is Jeff Gordon back in 10th position as he has gone by Tony Stewart to take the 9th spot away. Back up front, Kyle Busch is our leader, and more on fuel today.
He is laying down the lap stock, but maybe at just a slightly slower pace. He was asked to save fuel by his crew chief, Alan Gustafson. He, of course, asked, can we make it to the end? And Gustafson said 3:34, but this is going to change everything. Biffle crashing.
Greg Biffle brings out caution.
Great report, Dave. It just all changed right here.
It's on fire.
Well, they got a big fire underneath the 16 car, Greg Biffle, right now. See how big that thing gets. He might have to get out of that car before he gets it back to pit road.
Okay, guys, we got 36 laps to go, and Jeff Gordon sitting back there in 9th spot. If he wants to get a good finish, he might need to try to roll the dice right here and maybe take 2 tires.
What would you do?
I think I would take 2 in this spot and just see what he can do.
Here's a 16 car of Biffle bringing out caution for the 12th time.
Shaky, just get out, get out.
I think you see the inside just full of smoke, and he's got to get out in a hurry.
He's got an oil cooler ruptured or an oil line, and if he keeps driving, the thing keeps pumping it out on the header.
Yeah, but he's breathing that stuff right now, guys. He's got to get out of there to get some fresh air to himself, or else he's gonna, could hurt him bad.
Yeah, smoke inhalation. They're trying to help him get out, get unhooked.
And they're saying get the side window out, knock it out, so some of this air. This is the window on the right-hand side that he's trying to get out, and that would really help. Ventilate some of this air out of this car. So Greg's out. Good news.
Show you the contact here that brought out the caution for Greg Biffle here on lap 298.
Same deal as before here. He just gets a little bit sideways, loses the thing.
Yeah, this is the second time this car, just like you said, gets out from underneath them right there. And he's trying to run so high, and the car just doesn't have the grip.
Brian Vickers coming by. That was the contact on the hood, and there's the fire that erupts. You're talking about the oil cooler, the fire that erupts in the front of the car underneath where the driver is sitting.
Yeah, and as long as that engine's spinning over, this is pumping oil out on the headers, and it just makes an intense fire, as you see here. Finally just told him to stop the car. Maybe the fire will go out and he can just jump out of it.
And Andy, you need the spotter to help you because you have no vision. You can't see out of the front of that car. And it's a good job, the spotter, to get out of the car, stop it. Just stop it there. I mean,
because the driver can't see that flame.
Cannot see that flame. And I had a big blow up in Michigan one year, big fire. And I had to rely on the spotter to tell me where to stop and where to turn the car to get out.
And that's why the pits are closed, because it's right there where you would come on to pit road there, and it has it blocked, so they currently have the pits closed for all the drivers. Let's check in on our ESPN Dish Tech Center and Tim Brewer.
Thanks, Jerry. The oil cooler is located over here on the left side. Anytime it's pretty much punctured or any of these oil lines right here, like Andy says, when the engine's turning over, it's constantly pumping oil out. When it gets up under the car, gets on the tailpipes beneath the car, and that's where the fire's created. That's what you're seeing coming out of the back of the car. Jerry?
Thank you, Tim. Great explanation of where that oil is coming from, and it blazes up in a hurry, and they were there trying to help get Greg Biffle out. Finally, you saw the technician just cut the radio wire to be able to get him away from the car.
And Andy, those oil coolers, they can be mounted anywhere in the car, can't they?
Oh yeah, there's anywhere in front of the engine. The rule says it has to be forward of the engine. A lot of guys run them right behind the radiator. You see them in different spots, but no matter where it is, if it gets severed and it gets cracked, that oil just goes everywhere.
For you Denny Hamlin fans, by the way, he had gone to the garage area. Now that car has come back out and is on pit road. They're trying to get Denny Hamlin back. He's actually going to roll off of pit road here and rejoin the race. He is being shown 6 laps down in 30th position.
One key thing right here, with the pits being closed and these guys running around under caution this long, they can sit there and think about what they're going to do. They can talk about it a little bit. So a lot of these guys are trying to decide whether they're going to get 2 tires, fuel, 4 tires. It's going to be interesting to see what they do.
Okay, you're Steve Letarte. You said you're going to come in and you'll roll the dice now and put on 2 tires?
He's sitting here 9th spot, and there's only 15 cars on the lead lap. So you look at, okay, what am I going to risk and what am I going to gain? If I get out front, maybe get the lead, get some clean air, might get a good top 5 spot. Okay, the worst thing that's going to happen is he's going to finish in the bottom part of the lead lap cars, which is around 15th.
What about Jimmy Johnson and Kyle Busch, the cars that are first and second?
Well, Jimmy Johnson's got a little more to lose. He's sitting here in 2nd spot, and I believe I'm going to let Chad Knaus make that call.
And we haven't seen anybody back in the pack put 4 tires on a drive and pass everybody and go to the front. The clean air has been everything. And Alan, big decision here.
Andy used to crew chief one of these cars, didn't he? Because what he just said was exactly what Steve Letarte just told Jeff Gordon. They will pit here. We'll cover their stop in a second. First, let's go up the end of pit road, Mike.
And there was some debate in the Matt Kenseth camp whether or not to stay out. They thought if they stayed out, they get some clean air. They might be able to make it the distance. Instead, they've decided to come down pit road for a wedge adjustment and 2 tires. Dave?
Will the 5 crew nail it? A 4-tire stop. They opted for 4 to keep the balance of the race car so far.